On Point is brought to you by National Baking Company.
Good evening and welcome to On Point. I'm your host, Kalila Reynolds.
And I'm Dennis Chung.
Well, Dennis, viewers, it's carnival season in Jamaica and parties are popping up all over the place. This year we have 4 road marches all on the same day. So that's going to be quite a spectacle to watch, and there's lots of money to be made. We're going to be talking about the business of carnival here on Point.
And later in the show, we'll speak to Global Shapers Kingston, an initiative of the World Economic Forum.
Yes, but before we do all of that, we take you back to some of the top business stories this week.
At number 5, Science and Technology Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley has blasted his government colleagues for not moving quickly enough in getting the ganja industry up and running. So far, 27 licenses have been approved, but only conditionally. None have yet met the criteria to start legally growing ganja. Dr. Wheatley says it would be a shame if Jamaica ends up importing marijuana. At number 4, it was dubbed the mother of all marches in Venezuela. Hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets of the capital Caracas on Wednesday to demonstrate against the government. 2 civilians were killed by the security forces during the event, and 1 police officer was also killed. Meanwhile, Jamaica's Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith says the Jamaican government is not interfering in the worsening political and economic crisis. At number 3, British Prime Minister Theresa May shocked everyone by announcing a snap election for June 8. The UK Parliament approved the election by an overwhelming majority on Wednesday. The election will come 3 years early. Mrs. May says the election will give the country certainty and stability as it negotiates its departure from the European Union. She's hoping to gain a bigger majority for her Conservative Party to strengthen her hand in the negotiations. Dormant bank accounts are back in the news, taking the number 2 spot. The government wants to be able to access the funds in those accounts sooner. Billions of dollars remain unclaimed in local banks. Under the law, the government can claim the funds once the bank account has been dormant for at least 15 years. But Finance Minister Audley Shaw says that time frame is excessive. He says he'll be submitting a proposal to Cabinet soon to shorten the time. And your top business story this week goes to Jamaica and the IMF. The IMF on Tuesday announced that Jamaica passed its first test under the new precautionary standby arrangement. This gives the country access to more funds in the event of a natural disaster or other economic shock. The IMF says Jamaica met all but one of its performance criteria. They're describing the one breach as small. The IMF is projecting the economy will grow by 2% this year.
And when we come back, the multi-million-dollar carnival industry right here on Point. Welcome back. Well, it seems carnival in Jamaica had all but died down after the passing of the legend Byron Lee. But it's been making a resurgence over the past few years, and this year, the competition for the carnival dollar is intense.
There are 4 bands hitting the road this year: Bacchanal Jamaica, Jamaica Carnival, Exodus, and Jamaica. Here's more on that.
Thousands of revelers will take over the streets of Kingston on Carnival Sunday. For the first time in the history of Carnival in Jamaica, there will be 4 separate bands hitting the road that day. The original folks who brought Carnival to Jamaica in the 1990s, led by Byron Lee back then, is putting a full band on the road this year again after a short hiatus. The Jamaica Carnival Band will be trying to make the connection as an authentic local carnival band designed and executed for the people. Bacchanal Jamaica will be hitting the streets as well, continuing an almost 2 decades old tradition. However, there are new bands on the scene this year, led by some young entrepreneurs. Exodus Carnival is being driven by the team most popularly known for executing the Dream Weekend series of parties, and they're promising patrons a once-in-a-lifetime carnival experience. Jamaica, on the other hand, is being fueled by a few independent party promoters who have formed a relationship with tribes out of Trinidad. With all these bands welcoming thousands of people to play mass and tens of thousands more on the street watching, Carnival Sunday in Kingston promises to be an unforgettable experience.
And we're joined in this segment by Julianne Lee from Jamaica Carnival and also Scott Dunn, who is new to the Carnival scene this year with Dream Entertainment's Exodus. Welcome to On Point.
Thank you.
Welcome, Julia and Scott. Scott, let me start with you as a new kid on the block. Do you think there's enough space for another band on the road this year?
Well, yeah, we're going to see. So there's 4 bands on the road this year. I don't know, what overall numbers were like last year, but from what I've heard, and based on what I've heard of sales this year, I'm expecting there's going to be at least 50% more people on the road this year versus last year. I don't know if Julian.
And how many of them are from overseas? Julian, you know?
Well, from the surveys and from the reports we've been getting, quite a significant amount. So it has definitely been a boost. We welcome the 4 carnivals. We think it's an amazing step in the space here for Jamaica. It will position us in the region tremendously.
Yeah, certainly for Exodus, we're about a 50-50 split.
Between overseas
local and international.
Okay, so you're earning some strong back.
What is that overseas? Is it Jamaicans who live abroad who you're talking to? Or?
Well, there's quite a bit of people in the diaspora, but just, regular tourists, as well. We also, with Exodus, we have a deal with Island Roots, where they sell us like an excursion. So the same way Island Roots would sell Dolphin Cove or, horseback riding or whatever, they sell Exodus Carnival as an excursion as well.
Okay,
So,
you mean participation in or viewing of?
no, participation.
So the costumes, everything is part of that deal?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Good move. You can't lose. That's a good move for Jamaica, isn't it?
I tell you, this is the second year back for Jamaica Carnival?
For Jamaica Carnival.
All
we did
right.
a promotional teaser last year, so this is a full rollout production in 2017 for us.
Tell me what inspired you to come back to the scene after this long hiatus?
It was difficult after Daddy passed to be inspired to come back, but as Scott said, seeing that there was a void, that there was a want, and we had to try to fulfill it. We came back last year inspired by a phone call by Michelle Montano that reminded us as a family what Daddy worked so hard for, and that was that Carnival were for the people. It was a unifying event that took place that broke down social barriers, and we jumped in head first last year, and it was amazing. And this year with the other players on the scene, it really is fulfilling Byron Lee's vision. He started out in ska and then went through our evolution of music in Jamaica, and he settled with his love for calypso that then evolved into soca. So where we're at today with him being able to bring this type of festival to his island and then to see these fantastic promoters and producers putting on their presentations is really it's very thrilling, and we're pleased for it, definitely.
Jamaica Carnival has always been known as the carnival for the people, the masses. But from your point of view, Scott, Dream is a brand that's known for the younger crowd. So you're targeting a specific crowd of persons.
Yeah, well, again, we try to tap into that Dream demographic. So again, for Dream, we probably have slightly more international patrons than local. So we have maybe 30,000 people in the grill, most of them being foreigners. And what we've done with Exodus is tap back into that fan base, basically, saying, hey, this is us, what we do. We do 9 events over 5 days in the grill. We can pull that off. We think we can pull off a road march with beautiful costumes.
Let me ask you a question. You ever thought about selling a year-round ticket? So not just seasonal for the weekend, but an annual ticket. You certainly have the product. Yeah, just come.
It might
throw in a house and a car.
It might get there one day. Well, what we're definitely looking at is extending the seasons, and it's something that we certainly work along with both the Ministry of Entertainment and the Ministry of Tourism with, because I say, and I'm sure you hear more about that later, but this looking at specific seasons and really planning a lot of events around those seasons. So, like for us, it's been a busy last few days. We had an event last Thursday, we had one on Saturday, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. We have another one this Friday. So it's really capitalizing on this carnival season that people like Julian and the guys at Bacchanal have built up over the years.
You know, it's interesting seeing the different approaches that two of you, your two organizations have taken towards Carnival. Julie and Jamaica Carnival targeting the more affordable option of Carnival for the people, while Exodus targeting, I guess, the higher end of the market. Which one is more lucrative, though? Which one?
Certainly, I would say Dream. I would absolutely say Dream.
But you have the larger numbers, I would imagine.
Our mandate was always to give to the people and community buildings. So we do feel that there's a balancing act here, and you have to have a varying product to offer. So with what Dream and Bacchanal and Exodus are doing, really gives Jamaica Carnival the space in which we can really fit in comfortably, where we can produce our own, keeping our identity, which is what we're really focused on doing, the fusion with soca and dancehall and any new genre that comes along, giving it our Jamaican flavor. You know, our costumes and our roadwear is really indigenous to our culture, not mimicking South America or anything, which is nice, but we want to hold on to Jamaica as long as we can. We do feel that the model is
That's another criticism of Carnival in Jamaica, is that it's this imported product. It's not indigenous to Jamaica. It's a cultural experience that we're taking from Trinidad, from Brazil, and other countries that observe Carnival. So how do you Jamaicanize it and say, no, this is not just theirs, it's ours as well?
Well, I think we're the basin, so it's really out of many one. And I don't think anyone is more valuable or less valuable than the other. It really is just giving you a wide variety that can appeal to varying tastes. And I think that is really what is important. When you try and hold on and say, well, we are this and this is what it should be, then you narrow your possibility for growth. So it's what Scott is doing and the rest of the promoters that are out there putting on Carnival. I do think that it is going to cast that net, a wider net, globally, regionally and globally. So it's definitely going to position Jamaica out on the forefront. And with the people in the space now, we're confident, and we've been meeting together and we're working well together, that this is going to catapult Jamaica into a new space for 2018 and 19 moving forward.
But then I don't really see a problem with it, because we export reggae. So, you know, other people might want to import. True. You know, and Japan, for example, is known for being Japan because it copied a lot of things. So, you know, I mean, as long as we get there, we might create soge, right? Between soca and reggae very soon.
For sure. And when I said, I mean, Byron Lee was doing that years ago with people like Admiral Bailey and stuff from years gone by. I said, I mean...
And it's a great way to cross over into other markets.
Certainly, with the state of our economy, anybody to complain about any way to stimulate our economy can't have Jamaica's best interest at heart. And there's a lot of money being pumped into the economy during even just the course of this week. The amount of tourists that will be here for Carnival this week, and the kind of money that they're spending. And they're not just spending the money of the promoters, because the promoters have to hire out. I mean, our average event that we do will have hundreds of people. Just for the road march alone, between marshals and security, we probably have 250 people that are going to be working on that day just in those roles.
And how many participants?
We're looking at close to 1,500.
How many have
it stimulates the economy, definitely, and that is definitely a great factor. We're at about 1,250. But we also appeal to the market to come out and see our free concert, you know, in Halfway Trees. So we're a different demographic. We have different models, but as Scott says, at the end of the day, it employs thousands of people in the city, from the airport personnel to the baggage lifter to the taxi driver to the food industry. It definitely all benefits the city of Kingston and the island of Jamaica.
Well, you know, that's one of the things that maybe Carolyn Riley will be able to answer later, but I mean, you have all these things, you bring all these people to Jamaica, and we have no hotel rooms.
That's not true.
You know,
I give you one to go look up. We have more room stock than Trinidad. And they have, and they have a much bigger Carnival.
So they sleep on the beach, on the road.
Let's say, you know, the things like Airbnb popping up, you know, that's a huge opportunity. And also, Ocherios is not out of reach, certainly for North America.
45 minutes.
They're used to traveling that kind of distance.
Which I mean, it speaks to the point that this thing is something for the entire economy. Everyone is involved, the vendors, everybody, you know.
And as well, like with us with Island Roots, we were shuttling people in from Mobay for the day to come and march on the road for the day and head back.
If you looked at the beginning of Jamaica Carnival, you saw the model that Daddy did. He picked a time in Jamaica where we were dormant and stagnant in Kingston. So really and truly, he started the event at the beginning of January, and it went on for 8 to 12 weeks, and it really created a lot of birth industry out of it, and exploded and catapulted. So we're back to a situation again now where we don't have tourism that hard in Kingston now, and we really have to rely upon entertainment and sports. And our culinary is also amazing. So with that, and with this build-out, with the various different producers and promoters that are putting on their events, you will definitely see an upsurge in the city of Kingston, and it employs many, and the benefits will be there. And we're working very well closely with the police and crime force. So we're working along with that to make sure that the city is very safe as well.
Right.
The Linkages Committee has done a great job to corral it. We, with Bacchanal and Jamaica Carnival, did it for 20 odd years, but who's more powerful than the minister that can actually push that one step further?
Well, some would say though, with four competing carnivals, taking 4 different routes for Road March, why don't you all just come together and figure it out and do one Road March, one thing where you have different segments that make up the one large spectacle that people can just watch?
How would you stagger that? How would you stagger a 10-mile parade? So it has to be entwining, you know, and when you look at the other islands.
How does it work on the road? Because Kingston isn't a huge city for 4 road marches on the same day. You guys end up meeting somewhere where you clash?
Use it, you know, a tried and tested model of Trinidad. There's probably over 50 bands in Trinidad, like the small ones, and they're all on different routes.
And there's a much smaller island.
In a much smaller city.
With narrow roads.
With very narrow roads.
But you know, the reason why I support the diversity also is competition. Competition is going to make the product, you know, even better. I mean, you get too complacent.
Everybody tightens up.
In the mid-90s, Jamaica Carnival put 4,000 people on the road 2 years in a row, and Bacchanal, at that time, there were Oak Ridge Boys, had their people on the road, and you had Limas. So really and truly, this is just under the magnifying glass. Everybody really did their part back then. Now it's stepping it up a notch.
Yes.
So, you know, Oak Ridge Boys then morphed into what is Bacchanal today, and we had been for many years on 2 separate routes. We did cross at the stadium. We had the stage at NHT Park and stuff like that. So there is a common area, a Carnival Sunday coming up on Waterloo Road and East King's House, where that is where all 4 parades.
West King's House.
Sorry, West King's House. Thank you.
Right. So basically, from Devon House on Waterloo to the left on West King's House down to Constant Spring Road, all 4 bands will pass.
Absolutely.
So
Prime real
in terms of the
estate.
spectacle of it, if you want to stand in front of Devon House or down near Terra Nova or over on West King's House, you'll see all 4 parades pass.
And then with the different flavors, we all splinter off and go in our various different directions, and that is really good because again, what you're doing, you're not becoming monotonous, and you're appealing to a larger crowd to say, come out now, the spectacle is back. It's all about the spectacle and the musical presentation.
And you have some
safety.
fantastic costumes this year, right?
Well, we are more about the musical drive.
But you have some great costumes.
We're happy with what we have, and
So
they're
that's one
stunning.
of our big sellers is costumes. Basically, what we try to do is beautiful costumes and great experience is essentially what we sell. And you know, it's worked well for us. Our costumes were sold out next to no time.
So what's the potential of this thing now? How big is it growing?
Again, I look at Trinidad and I say, okay, and you see Jamaica versus Trinidad.
How many people does Trinidad have?
Tens of thousands.
Wow.
Tens of thousands jumping. The city actually shuts down, and the residents of Port of Spain actually most of them leave and rent out their homes, or they go out and shut down their homes. It's amazing. I think
all the politicians are involved. They're expected to be involved.
Yeah.
I
I think they have maxed. I think they have reached their cap though, because their food service listen, Jamaica and Kingston is ideal. We have fantastic roadways. We have great hotels. We have great food restaurants, handlers, and stuff like that. They really don't. Our roads are big. Our transportation system is amazing. We have 2 international airports. And as Scott said, it's 40 minutes away to the country.
Right. And I say as a brand, Jamaica.
So we're ideal.
As a brand, is a much huger brand than Trinidad.
Right.
Anywhere in the world you go, people know what Jamaica is. So it's much easier to sell an experience in Jamaica than to sell one in Trinidad, not in Trinidad.
So how much would you say this industry is worth?
To us,
to the economy, to the promoters, not much. To the economy,
right?
Could be.
Remember, the tax man is watching this show.
To us, it's a lot more sentimental though, because you have to understand that we are trying to make sure that Byron Lee's vision remains and it stays true to core grassroots experience. that we can actually include, and we're inclusive, and we're about the music, and we're more looking at that cultural aspect of it more than the commercial aspect of it. Obviously, with his standards of professionalism, this is $1 billion industry if handled correctly. If it is not capped, if it is not strangled, if it's not stifled. And we have learned from many years that if you do not work together, Carnival, anywhere you go, is about unification. And that has to stand within the band members. And we have done so well so far this year, and we're proud.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that there's anything needed to push it, like incentives from government or something like that?
It certainly wouldn't hurt. It certainly
Listen, for the 20-odd years, it was really on the backs of Bacchanal and Jamaica Carnival. Right. So yes, always, it will always help because we're fiercely competitive. In Nassau, in the Bahamas
what areas do you need assistance?
In the Bahamas last year, they put $11 million US into promoting Carnival. Junction Carnival, and the year before 10 million US.
So you'd be looking for advertising sponsorship mainly.
Ideally, I mean, there's marketing, but there's also back-end services.
Of course.
And there's a lot of money that we spend with the government.
Of course.
You know, right before coming here, Julia and I were talking about, you know, things like parish council permits and paying police to be on the road. You know, the stuff that, you know, the economy is benefiting from this is a lot more than we as the promoters do. So
can handle. It's hard for it to be
born.
Stakeholders.
So basically, you know, every stakeholder needs to chip in. It's not just about the promoters chipping in. And that's the model anywhere in the world. Any big festival, any big carnival anywhere in the world, the city is kind of who funds. It's just like you bring in the Olympics or something to your city. It's the city that's paying for it. It's not individuals, private individuals paying for it.
Well, in the next segment, we'll have a representative from the Ministry of Tourism, and we'll ask her that question.
Yeah, but we feel they are limited, though. I mean, they are doing their best as well. They've worked well with us, but we would, you know, as Scott said, additional help would always be welcome to get this to where we would like to see it.
Well, thanks for joining us, Julian and Scott. When we come back, as Dennis said, we'll hear from a representative from the Ministry of Tourism. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, we're still talking Carnival, and we're joined now by Carolyn McDonald Riley. She is the project manager for the Tourism Linkages Hub. Welcome to On Point.
Thank you, Kalila.
Welcome, Carolyn.
Thanks, Dennis.
The Tourism Linkages Network. What is your role? How are you assisting with the Carnival? I mean, it's obviously getting to be a huge tourism product now.
Oh, yes. Well, in terms of the ministry's role with respect to Carnival, it falls squarely under one of our networks. So we actually have 5 networks, new passion points driving tourism, which I'll speak to in a while, if you allow me. But Sports and Entertainment Network, we call it SEN, is the network that has the responsibility to drive tourism with respect to sports and entertainment activity. And Carnival is a new initiative that we're looking at. So we will be marketing Jamaica as one of the Carnival destinations. We want Carnival to get bigger. We want to get as big as our sister island, Trinidad, or Mardi Gras in New Orleans.
This is the first year that Tourism Linkages Hub is
It is the first year that we're actually going to look at using Carnival to drive our numbers. So yes, we have been involved somewhat, probably in terms of through the different bands, but it's the first time we in terms of our SDN network, which is the Sports and Entertainment, that is headed by Kamal Banki. He's the chair. We have pulled together the 4 bands. So for the first time, we have 4 bands under one roof promoting Carnival in Jamaica. So we have acquired the name Carnival in Jamaica. You'll find that on the Jamaica Tourist Board page, Carnival in Jamaica. We actually bought that name from one of the bands, and that's how we're marketing it.
So you're marketing it how?
As one of the events to come to Jamaica for. So it's going to be one of those seasonal events.
Meaning using what medium? Or media?
Through our traditional means of Jamaica Tourist Board, through other means, through the network. So currently, like for this season, the airports will be branded. You'll come into any of our 2 international airports and you'll see Welcome to Carnival in Jamaica. We'll be branding particular roads, streets, different parts of the airports, Carnival in Jamaica. So we want the world, Jamaicans here, and tourists alike to know that Carnival is happening. We want you to participate if it's your thing.
Have you gotten to the stage yet where you're advertising on foreign stations and all that?
We have not. So 2017 is our launching pad, where we are seeing how it is, what are the different mediums. But 2018, certainly, we will be on all the airwaves speaking to Carnival in Jamaica and encouraging persons to come to Jamaica for Carnival.
Yeah. Carly, let me ask you, I don't know if you know, but the last Carnival in Trinidad, I was actually passing through in transit from Ghana.
Oh, I thought you were jumping.
No.
Passing through.
I was in transit from Ghana, and if I was actually going, I would turn back because the airport was so packed. And I know we have a problem already with Sangster, even outside or something like this. Are we making any plans to address that sort of situations when people come in here? It's very easy for them to get through. And yeah.
Well, Dennis will be working with all our partners. Certainly, even in terms of Carnival 2017, we have a committee with all our band leaders, which includes Customs, Immigration,
Right,
Ministry of Agriculture. And Customs have been sensitized to our programs, so has Immigration, and yes. So what we are promoting is the entire season. They won't have everybody coming in all at once, because we're saying this is the Carnival season, would have identified a peak period. So yes, you'll have packed airports, yes, you'll have, but the idea is to get persons to flow smoothly.
Yeah, but everybody wants to come in for the road march, which is the culmination of the
But
event.
believe me, Kalila, what we have been doing is there's a lot of events. Our peak season that we identified for this year is between the 14th and the 23rd. And there are a lot of parties, a lot of activities happening. And there are a lot of people coming in for the different events. So people really coming in for the road march, yes, but you have a lot of people coming in for the different events.
A lot of people coming in already?
A lot of people are here already. We have the participation of the tourism sector through bus tours, but persons are here for a number of different parties. We have significant more activities happening right now than we formerly had.
The issue of accommodation came up in the previous segment with the other two
And
guests.
the number of hotel rooms.
Oh yes, well, Carnival, Easter of course is one of our peak season anyway. So it means that our hotels will be as full as they usually are, but it means it's an opportunity for other accommodation. So our Airbnb, of course, will have more persons staying in, because for linkages, what we seek to is to reach the ordinary person in terms of benefits. So the benefit, of course, will be spread. It's not just about accommodation at a hotel. There are accommodation at different places. So we're looking into that, but persons have an opportunity now to advertise, to say, okay, here is an opportunity to stay here. But certainly with respect to accommodation, we're going to see a lot of flurry, and it means even some of our small hotels, which are normally not as full as the large ones, will have the opportunity to have persons staying there.
How do we compete with a more established carnival like a Trinidad and Tobago for the tourist who has, one vacation a year and they decide to go to, why would they decide to come to Jamaica Carnival as opposed to a larger one?
Well, we're not competing, because first of all, it's at a different time. That's one. And Jamaica is the entertainment mecca. And what we will be doing is, it's another season of events. So persons will be coming. We also want to sensitize persons who are here as to what is happening, because certainly a lot of events happening here and people are here don't even know about it. There's also to get persons who are here, Jamaicans and tourists alike, to say, okay, this is happening. And of course we have much more than some of our other competitors have to offer. We have certainly more hotel rooms, more food, more space, more everything. So it will be a natural choice if you have to choose. If you have to choose between Jamaica and another destination, it will be a natural choice for you to come to Jamaica, to our Carnival.
So while that's all great, and we're happy to see the support that Carnival is getting from the Ministry of Tourism, the Tourism Linkages Hub, how do you answer the criticism that you're eager to support an imported product, quote unquote imported, in terms of Carnival in Jamaica not being indigenous to this country, but you're not supporting something homegrown like the dancehall industry?
Good question, Kalila, but I'll say that it is Carnival is one of the products that the initiatives that we are behind. We are going to be behind all the other initiatives in terms of Reggae Month. We have a whole program to roll out, and there are lots of other activities that we will be supporting. It's just that Carnival is the first. And I think the biggie is to have 4 bands under one roof saying Carnival in Jamaica. it was no easy feat to get it quickly organized, but it happened, and I think that's big news. So it has made the big news. But we intend to work closely with all the other entertainment partners. So you'll be seeing me here again speaking about reggae. You'll be seeing me here again speaking about dancehall and whatever it is. But Carnival is not an imported product. It is something that our Jamaicans celebrate. We've always been involved in it, as we said, out of many one people. So this is just another medium for us to express ourselves, but certainly it's not. We don't quote it as imported.
Is it that the forces behind Carnival in Jamaica are better organized than those who put on the dancehall reggae events?
I would like to say, at the time when we started to move with some of these entertainment initiatives, Carnival was the next thing for us to tap into. So the Carnival group started to meet in November, with Carnival in April. So it was easier to choose that one. Certainly, as soon as the Carnival season is out, we move to looking at what next. But that's basically what it is. I'm not sure that I can say that some persons are not easy to get together when it is that we have not made a concerted effort to. Because we also work closely with the Ministry of Culture and Entertainment. We work closely with them. So all of our efforts, whether it is dancehall, whether it is soca, whatever it is really a joint initiative with the other ministry to get things going. And I probably should add that with respect to Carnival, we have other ministries involved. We have the Ministry of Security, who will be providing security on the day. We also have our local government. We met with Minister of Local Government too, in terms of giving us assistance in terms of branding the city. We have the mayor involved. So it's really joined up government. It's not really just the Ministry of Tourism behind Carnival. It is the government of Jamaica promoting another seasonal event.
So let me ask you, how your linkages, right?
Right.
So how are you encouraging the other small players to get involved and
well, while I spoke to the 4 bands, it wasn't, the meeting didn't, it was actually 30 persons that we're looking at in that meeting, because we had every promoter that has anything to do with Carnival in the planning meeting. So in addition to the major bands, we had whether it is that you were just a sound system operator or whether it is you were into costumes, once you were involved in Carnival, you were in that room. We had Ministry of Agriculture, the veterinary division, because even in terms of importing feathers, it is important as to where the feathers come from for health reasons. We had customs, because persons needed to know, okay, if it is that the feathers come from this jurisdiction, it attracts this, and where it comes from. So, as I said, it was a whole joined up process. It wasn't just getting people together to,
so you're trying
encourage
to bring
people to go on the road.
A sort of professional approach to entertainment in
we were doing that. But what I must say, though, with respect to linkages, one of the reasons why we choose it in terms of a seasonal event is how can the common man, average man, benefit? Because I know Carnival is seen as an uptown, big man money event. That's not really true if it is that we do it right and show where everybody can benefit. So in terms of gastronomy, there's a whole heap of food to be had, especially water. Drinking water is a big thing. There is also, in terms of manufacturing of the costumes, there is the different spill-off parties, the different persons that is employed. There is just about everything you can think of.
Do you have an estimate how many jobs this industry creates currently?
We do not have that figure, but I'm sure we'll be doing our surveys and we'll be able to tell you after the event just the impact of it. But there's a lot to be gained from getting behind Carnival from the government perspective in terms of selling to our people to say, look, you don't have to be jumping Carnival to benefit. You can be selling food. You can be making costumes. You can be a musical engineer. There is shopping. When the tourists come, they're not, or even locals alike. I mean, people shop at events. So there are lots of things that happen. It's not just about jumping on a road
But it sounds
parade.
like you're involved in much more than marketing. You're also involved in some of the logistics as well.
Yes, we are. For the first one, we are. As I said, we had to pull everybody to the table, and we had to actually work out where goes what, how do we do what, because while there's not a lot of big financial spend, because perhaps one of the questions you might ask, how much money does the Ministry of Tourism put into it? I wouldn't have a figure, but what we do have is to pool our resources together to say, okay, we coordinate with the mayor to assist us in banner placements. We coordinate with different ministries to do different things, and that's what we have been doing.
And it's all outlined in your book here.
In terms of the linkages initiative.
Because you're really bringing everything together. Eh?
And I must add, Dennis, that even in terms of the routes where the bans, it had to be signed off by the police. So they had to each submit to us the list of all the activities, the list of where it is that they were going to be marching, and all of these were approved routes by the police. So they, of course, would be in a position to issue directives to say these roads will be blocked, these roads will be where the parade is.
So you're very involved.
It is, yes, we are very involved because we're serious about marketing it as a seasonal product. So the Jamaica Tourist Board would, if you go on the website at visitjamaica.com/carnival in Jamaica, you'll see the list of all the activities happening for all the bands and where it is. So yes, we are, and we intend to really, as I say, it's a launching pad for 2018.
So where do you see this growing to now? I mean, you're putting everything together, but at some point in time, you expect the market to pick up and run with it. I don't want the thing to get to a point where I can't drive on the road anymore because every day somebody's marching.
It won't be every day, as I said, it's a seasonal event, but we'll have other events, so they'll be blocked.
I would love that though, because you'll be marching too.
They'll be blocked, but remember, Jamaica is much bigger, so I don't think we'll have a complete shutdown.
So you'll be expanding outside of Kingston also?
We will be.
Montego Bay, where there's a lot of...
Ocho Rios has their own carnival.
We will be. Ocho Rios has its own carnival. There used to be downtown carnival, so hopefully some of those will be revived. Right. So we'll be expanding, but I don't think to a shutdown of the country because everybody must coexist, right? Like I know on a Sunday people have to go to church and go back home.
Or ride bicycles.
Or people have to ride bicycles, like Dennis. So we intend to take it to a higher level. We want to see much more persons on the street, both participating and watching the parade because of the economic effects.
Yeah,
but it will not be to the exclusion of persons going about their daily business. Routes will be highlighted and persons will know where what is. The police will do a very good job at sending that information out.
So tourism will be contributing significantly to the 5 and 4.
We will be contributing significantly to the 5 and 4.
All right,
I'm sure Minister Bartlett will have more to say about that in terms of the figures when we're done.
All right, thanks for joining us, Caroline. When we come back, we'll be hearing more about Global Shapers Kingston. We'll tell you what that is after the break. Welcome back. Well, Brittany Singh Williams was recently named the first female curator of Global Shapers Kingston Hub. She heads the Jamaican chapter of a global network of young leaders who are using their achievements to drive their communities. And she joins us now to tell us more. Welcome to On Point.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Brittany. Who are Global Shapers and why are you important to Jamaica?
The Global Shapers is a young organization that was established by Professor Klaus Schwab.
Young, so I wouldn't qualify for it.
You have to be under 30. Yeah, from 20 to 30.
Yeah, I'm not on the co-host that qualifies.
Just by a day. Yeah,
it was really by a day. It was set up by the World Economic Forum because they recognized that young people really have a voice and they really wanted to include us on the world stage in terms of making decisions, because as you know, the World Economic Forum is made up of public and private sector leaders from across the globe, and they meet every year at Davos in Switzerland. So they realized that young people really are integral in the decision-making process, and so this organization was launched about 5 years ago, and now we've expanded to over 4,000 hubs all across the world.
So what do you do, though? I mean, what's the impact?
What do we do? Well, we're mandated to be a voice in our local communities, to do projects all across our city. The Kingston Hub so far has done projects around hunger. So we have a project called #LunchBag that we started about 3 years ago. And what we do is come together, we bring a lot of young people together, have it a fun time, and they make sandwiches and we prepare meals. And then we go out onto the streets or to different homes and bring those sandwiches.
I heard of that.
Yeah, so that's a project that actually other hubs across the world do, and we've brought it here as well.
So how does a young person get involved?
You actually have to be nominated to participate, and you're usually nominated by a fellow member. Or last year we actually had a call for applications. We got over 45 applications, and we shortlisted to about 12. So it's quite rigorous.
It's
and
an elitist organization.
Kind of. Once you're selected, you actually we then have to submit your application to Switzerland for them to decide whether or not you really actually qualify.
So how do you measure the impact? I mean, across the world, what sort of impact have you had?
For our hub specifically?
Yeah, or even across the world, globally.
Across the world?
I mean, how have you affected lives? You know, how have you been?
Well, I mean, depending on the hub, we have some hubs that get a lot of funding because of the countries that they're in. For instance, in China, the hubs in China get lots of funding from Pepsi and Coca-Cola because those are where the main factories are. And those hubs are able to even start foundations and organizations depending on their respective category that they want to do. So some people do education, healthcare. It really depends on what your hub has decided to do. And a lot of the more successful hubs who have been in existence from the beginning have been able to, start hospitals and schools and things like that.
So what has your hub decided to do?
Well, our hub is only
major project?
Well, our major project right now, which we just started, we had a symposium about 2 months ago, and it was about brain drain, the issue of brain drain in Jamaica, because we find that a lot of the young people, when we were trying to get applicants, were either leaving or just coming back home, and we realized there is a huge issue, or want to leave. There's a huge desire to leave, and people think the grass is green on the other side. So what's our new mandate, and what I hope to carry out in the upcoming year, is more projects that cater to opening the conversation, the discussion for what young people can get involved with in Jamaica. And my hope is to have a youth forum, a larger symposium at the beginning of next year, to really just have a day of getting that discussion started, people really pouring into our lives, because I find that a lot of young people are just really, they want to leave. They're frustrated with not being able to find jobs, and I find that a lot of the jobs also don't necessarily cater to how a millennial thinks. They want to have purpose and value, and how do we leverage that? How does our culture change to facilitate that kind of growth, and how young people can develop here? So that's really the focus area for the next year, and we hope to develop that more. Before, we've really just been doing smaller projects, but now we really want the opportunity to let people know our value, because it's been hard for the Caribbean hubs to get out there, because not a lot of people are familiar with the World Economic Forum, so they don't really necessarily see the value in the hub, whereas other countries on other continents have really been able to soar. So really our focus is getting out who we are, what we're about, and it's really about making a change.
So the young people who are involved, you are selected how? Is because you're involved in entrepreneurship?
We have a wide range. For instance, I'm involved in education in both public and private sector. We have entrepreneurs who have digital businesses, people that work in production, a wide range. We have attorneys, current curator now, he's Mikhail Jackson. He works for Lival, and he's an attorney and is very passionate about helping young people understand the value of an attorney in business as well. So all of us are from different walks of life, and you can imagine a meeting takes a long time, because all of us have, are very strong-willed and coming from different perspectives. So it's all about, coming together and deciding what's important for Kingston and not our personal motives. So
is it outside Kingston as well, or
it can be, but somebody from outside Kingston can start their own hub. So they could write a letter to the World Economic Forum to begin their own hub. I believe there's one that's trying to develop now in Montego Bay.
And what's the ratio of male to female participation?
Currently, it is about 50-50. When I first got there, it was just 2 girls. So the women are coming up, but currently I'd say it's 50-50. And we actually have some new shapers coming in next week, 5 more new shapers, and 3 of them are males. So we're going to be outnumbered soon, but
by one.
By one. But it's intimidating, especially being the first female. I feel like I have to prove myself and lead well, and I'm looking forward to the challenge, but I am nervous.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I don't think you have anything to worry about, Brittany. You can survive Dennis Chung the shot, but
Let's take us to a break. That's why she said that.
Thanks for joining us. All the best with Global
Thank you so
Shapers.
much.
When we come back, we'll have the numbers and your word on the street. Welcome back to On Point. Well, earlier in the show, we spoke about the business of Carnival, which is a multi-million and probably multi-billion-dollar industry in countries like Trinidad and Tobago and Brazil. Here are the numbers.
The Trinidad and Tobago government alone invested roughly $40 million in last year's Carnival. But that's small change compared to the $143 million the event is estimated to generate in the local economy. Some 40,000 visitors traveled to the island for the two-day event, spending an estimated $30 million. In the much bigger economy of Brazil, this year's Carnival is estimated to have brought in nearly $2 billion in revenue. More than 1.1 million tourists visited Rio de Janeiro for their week-long festivities in February. The city of Rio alone generated an estimated $770 million. Over in Sao Paulo, Carnival income was some $480 million. Some 57% of that income comes from food and beverage services in bars and restaurants during Carnival.
And our On Point team hit the streets and asked Jamaicans, do you think Carnival is good for Jamaica?
The problem that I have with it is the viewership when it is broadcasted on live television and such, and the kids see it, so they think that it is okay for them to gyrate and put on skimpy clothes in the public domain and such.
Carnival is very nice. I love Carnival, but I don't really go there because I take the crowd, but I love to see the girls, man, they are looking elegant, looking good.
Well, basically, I mean, Jamaica is a kind of country where calypso, more or less, that we are a lively set of people, and the type of music sell we.
Yes, it's good, and it have a little bad side about it because there's not a lot of persons who know about the Carnival today. But it's good exercise and drinking and all of that, enjoying yourself.
Yeah, it might good for some people, yes, but not everybody. Like the young people them who, but like me in our elder now, you know, not gonna really enjoy Carnival. Then if you put Christ in a Carnival now still.